One of the things that will tide you over during tough times are gold and silver. And one of the things that you can't trust are the banks. History is on my side when I say that. That's not a paranoid comment. 1929, my mom's side of the family, very wealthy relatives of the so-called great Henry Ford, who knew what was coming, didn't bother to warn his relatives, and they took a bath. Banks took everything. Now, the banks we know can bail you out. In other words, 100,000 you had in the bank? Well, that's now worth 30,000. That's a bailout, or bail-in, I should say. A bailout's where your money is being taken from your account through inflation to pay off debts. Government's doing projects with people making lots of money, like DARPA, like the military industrial complex and Raytheon Corporation to fight the forever wars. That's another way that you're drained. But there's nothing you can do about it, really, because once you put your money in the bank, the Dodd-Frank law of 2010 says you're an unsecured creditor and they own your money. Now, the reason they don't take it today is they're making a lot of money loaning it out. It's called fractional reserve banking. For every dollar you put in the bank, they're allowed to loan out nine. Boy, how would you like that deal? You do that, it's called counterfeiting and you go to prison. The Fed does it, it's called a business day. But they get to do that, fractional reserve banking, and the money is not your own anymore. That's what they can never be sued on that point. People have tried. I really want an expertise on this. Look at the book written by G. Edward Griffin, The Creature from Jekyll Island. And that is still the classic book about the Federal Reserve. And then look at what the great Ron Paul, former Congressman Ron Paul, Dr. Ron Paul, I should say, and what he had to say about that. Oh, did they line up to stop him when he ran for president? Hook and crook. They threw everything at him but the kitchen sink. They could not have that man in power because they couldn't control him. So anyway, what are you going to do? Well, Noble Gold has answers for you. And this is almost a presentation unto itself because Noble Gold has the answers. They can take your IRAs, 401ks, and put them under your control, not the banks, and back them with gold and silver, which is an appreciating asset. That can't be touched. You leave it in the bank, it's going to go the way of your bank account if 1929 happens again, or if we get a bailout like we see in other countries, or a bail-in like we see in other countries. So Noble Gold has answers for you, and you should be accumulating gold and silver as well, because cash is trash and it's soon going to crash. And we just exacerbated that with the shutting down of the Strait of Hormuz from this war. So what are you going to do? Well, you're going to call Noble Gold and discuss options. They're not going to push anything. They're just going to answer your questions. And then you'll have to literally close your own deal. I've been a customer for over 9 years, so I know how this works over there. And whenever I interview someone from Noble Gold, we laugh about this. That's how we're trained, Dave. We're not here to push anybody. We're here to give them options. So what do? Call 877-646-5347, 877-646-5347. And sorry for the length of this, but let me just say this to you. This is instructive because you live in times that people don't understand the inflation and stealing money out of your account. Most people don't get that. Most people don't know about fractional reserve banking. Most people don't know you're an unsecured creditor in the Dodd-Frank law of 2010 that was buried within 20,000 pages of documentation. And I'm here to educate, here to help you give options. And none of these things have been made illegal. I'm not accusing them of anything dastardly. Do I think it's unethical? Huh? I don't think they have their customers' best interest in mind. They're only serving their own needs. In the time that you started serving your own. 877-646-5347. Well, let's take a look at the second segment in this. We talked about Peter Thiel. Now I want to talk to you about a 51-year-old pastor named David. Had a heart attack, collapsed on the floor. A secretary found him. They went through the motions at the hospital trying to revive him, but he's dead. He's not coming back. And so he's clinically dead for several minutes. I believe it was over a half hour. He came back with no brain damage. They called it a miracle. Put a miracle on it. Well, I call it a gift from the Lord. So anyway, here's what he saw initially. Initially, he saw this huge mass infrastructure being installed across the country. What? Huge mass infrastructure being installed across the country. And you're saying, uh-oh, this sounds familiar. And so what are you saying? This sounds familiar to you. What is it that you're saying, ladies and gentlemen? Come on. You're saying data centers. There were only a few 10 years ago. Now there's 5,400. In 5 years, they project there's going to be 40 to 50,000. In Palantir rental, not Palantir, excuse me, I just drew a blank on it. Pulte homes, rental homes. They're putting mini data centers in the yards. Not all of them, some of them. They're even trying it on some existing homeowners. Remember Monica Weslasky, the State Department employee that we tried to help well over a decade ago? Those who followed me for a long time. Well, I keep in touch with Monica, and they tried to put one in her yard, in her neighborhood. They fought it and they didn't want the attention, so they backed off. The huge infrastructure that this pastor saw. And they just said, "Oh, this is just for commerce. This is just to make life more efficient. Just go back to sleep. Everything's okay. Don't worry about it." Well, we already know there's a lot to worry about. My electric bill personally is up 17% this year because I'm paying millionaires to become billionaires with data centers. Well, it's true. And they're signing, our leaders are signing non-disclosure agreements to make these under the table deals. And then by the time the details get disclosed, it's already done. That happened in Box Elder County in Utah. People are up in arms there, but their leaders sold them out, literally and figuratively. So these people are suffering noise that is relentless at night, pollution doubling in the immediate area. There is even a heat island effect from this. Not bad if you're in the winter, I suppose, but if you're in the summer, especially if you're in Arizona, that's not pleasant. And so we have all these side effects here. And by the way, they say, oh, we're giving mass jobs. The construction, that's true. But once the data center is built, it's AI that's running it. But the only employees are the security, and they're turning that over to AI, to AI robots. So the jobs argument is not true. It's not an accurate statement at all. And so we are being overwhelmed by what this pastor said was mass infrastructure. Now, we are looking, where does this go? Well, he was shown by Jesus, this ties into everything. And we're going to be told, and we're already hearing some of this, these are wonders in place. The technology, the computer systems are so ramped up that we're all going to benefit from this. Increased knowledge, increased productivity. It's going to be absolutely wonderful and marvelous. And it's almost being sold to us on a spiritual basis. Matthew 24:24 speaks to this. There'll be false prophets and fake Christ. I think we're getting into that domain here. And as a Christian, this is where discernment needs to come out. Um, we're going to talk about in the next segment just how bad it's going to get and how they're going to roll it out. What's going to be the mechanisms? This pastor saw that, and it parallels exactly what I said at Clay Clark's seminar and what I said at Hear the Watchman presentation 2 years ago. It's almost word for word. And I had gone through events. I had looked at it geopolitically. I looked at it spiritually, scripturally, and I came to some conclusions. And it was just eerie to hear this pastor echo all these things. And stay tuned because we're going to be back with that part of the presentation. I'm Dave Hodges. This is the Common Sense Show. Stay tuned for more.